I worked as an early editor and writing mentor with Cara Pacific Campbell on her upcoming first book. And I wanted her to come talk about the pre-release that she's starting today, the day that this podcast airs, June 9th. When she got on, we looked at each other and said, "Oh, I'm so tired, so tired. Let's talk about this another time." And then as we just started chatting a little bit, I said, "No, actually, let's record this. This is the perfect topic to be talking about regarding your book, and you will see why." I'm Amy Hallberg, author, editor, and writing mentor. And these are conversations with real-life creatives on how we find and embody our voices. Because if you want to be a real-life creative, it helps to know what that looks like for you. Welcome to Courageous Wordsmith. Cara's here. We were going to have a conversation about her book, and we will, but we looked at each other and said, no, we're not promoting a book at this moment because we're really tired. So what's your take on what's going on, Cara?
I just feel like, as we were talking, right now feels like an extinction burst. It feels like so much of what's been festering under the surface is coming out to be seen and witnessed and experienced. And for so many of us, that is so overwhelming to our senses. And what we need to do is prioritize self-care, not in the sense of necessarily bubble baths, but actually taking care of our nervous systems and dialing back how aware we are and how in tune we are with what's happening so that we can prepare ourselves to move forward in a different way, and we can help model for other people how to move forward in those ways.
I'm thinking about that saying, carry water, chop wood.
Yes.
So, even as the world is melting around us, I'm writing books, you're getting ready to release your book. We're doing this work of moving forward as writers. And I wonder what you have to say about that. Like, why, when the world is melting down, should we be doing this writing work? Why should we be doing our creative work? What do you think?
I think that there's a lot to be said for the fact that the work that we produce is a soothing balm. It's not only a path forward, right? We're shining a light on where we have suffered and how we have healed. We're also providing a space where others can grieve and feel and suffer and feel protected. And there's something so beautiful about being able to pick up a book or sit with a piece of art and be overcome with your feelings and then put it down and walk away. Go back to normal life. And that's really a gift that we offer to people, and a gift that other people, other authors and creators and artists create, this ability to make what is overwhelming become accessible for short periods of time. It's easy for me to feel and process while witnessing your grief. I can touch mine, but I don't have to go all the way into mine.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That little peek into it. I can sit and cry with your book, and then I can put it down and I can go make dinner. And I can move on with my life, and I can go to work. And that's a beautiful healing respite that we are providing to ourselves and to others.
I mean, it's such a strange time because at the one hand, we really just need to rest. I can't tell you, well, you got on, we started talking, and you were talking about how much you felt like your life was falling apart yesterday. And I was like, well, that's interesting, because I was in contact with a group of friends and they all had something. Everybody all had something going on. It's full moon, things are falling apart. And at the same time, we are innovating. We are innovating. We are creating new things, even as things are falling apart. And so it's so messy.
Yes. But it's also beautiful, right? It's the idea of the phoenix, or the divine feminine, rising from the ashes. You have to have ashes for the rising, right? Things have to be falling apart. And, a lot of us have done advanced work in either coaching or psychotherapy to really understand the beauty of the duality, to be able to hold two opposite ideas at the exact same time. Yes, the world is falling apart, and also the world is being birthed.
You know, the book that you wrote is about your own private, what do we want to call this, decomposition? When the rest of the world seemed pretty fine and they moved on without you. So, is it interesting to you? I mean, I want you to tell me about that story, but is it interesting to you that what you were experiencing that led you to write this book is fairly widespread now and it's happening to so many people?
Yes. And I remember talking to you early on in the process. And we were talking about the idea, this invitation of being sidelined and
Mm,
what you can learn when watching from the sidelines
mm.
and how that is required of certain ones of us to take that time out to be sidelined so that we can go back in to lead and coach with a better understanding, because you can't just learn from being on the field and in the game. So I had a lot of anger and resentment and bitterness around the fact that I was sidelined and everybody else kept playing and everybody else kept making money and everybody else kept doing the things that I wanted to be doing. And I had to come to terms with the fact that that wasn't my role at that time, but that there would be a time where I would be a participant again. And I just didn't understand in what shape or form that meant. And it's really interesting. And I mean this for all of us who've been sidelined. A friend of mine sent me a YouTube video the other day about how all of the great teachers through history, Jesus, Moses, Buddha, they were all sidelined,
Right.
right? They all had to be removed from the fray in order to ground and root and find out what was true so that they could bring that back to the people in a way that their people could understand. Interestingly enough, oftentimes in stories.
Well, I was going to say, when you think about stories, what's so interesting is your story and mine are not the same. But as you talk about your story, I'm like, oh, exact same thing happened to me.
And that's always been the same way with yours. Because I'm like, I feel like somehow we've lived the same life, but it's like different and in different languages.
Right. And when I lead these writing groups, they'll hear somebody share their story and that person's like, "Oh, does anybody want to hear this?" And the other person starts talking about how that echoes their life. And I used to think, "Wow, that's so rude." Like that's so rude to read somebody's story and then start telling them about your story. But I now recognize that that means the story has landed. That when you write it so true to who you are and you ground yourself so fully in truth, your lived experience, and the specific details of it, that somebody doesn't have to worry about whether it's true or not. They can just feel it.
Mm-hmm.
They start to look at their own lives and they can see those same patterns playing out. And so it's kind of like I'm holding a little candle with a little flame, and you lean your candle in and you light your candle for mine, and then you carry it forward, and now you tell your story, and so on. And we're spreading the light like little candles. And I still have my candle over here. You have your candle over there, but all these candles together are lighting up a wider and wider and wider space.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And one of the metaphors that I've been using in some of my marketing copy is it's a memoir with a mirror. So it's my story, but the purpose of my story is to hold up that mirror and help people see those little bits in them that either resonate so loudly, like, oh my God, I so see this, or those things where they're like, oh, wow, I never thought of it that way, but I completely see how I do this.
The awareness just suddenly turns on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, since apparently we are talking about your book after all, do you want to tell people what your book is about in specific?
Sure. So my book is called Upspiraling. That's our working title for right now. And it's my unconventional journey toward healing, wholeness, and joy. And as people join my author community, they can help me figure out what the best title is.
By the time we release this, it will have a name, or no, it won't have a
It
name.
won't have a name. So what we're doing
Oh
is
my gosh.
we are crowdfunding to raise money for the publishing
Yeah.
portion of it. So I'm working with a hybrid publisher. So everybody who gets in on the pre-orders helps me figure out what the title is and what the book design is. And they're behind the scenes for the rest of the crowdfunding and all of the publishing and editing.
Oh my gosh,
They're
that's
gonna
fun.
Isn't that fun? And they're gonna get a chance to be like, I really like this wording, or why did that snake do that? So we're gonna go, it's an actual community that I'm building where we can make this book together. Isn't that like a
That is
really
so you, though. I think of you as just okay, on the one hand, I think of you as somebody who had a chronic illness and was sidelined and was very, very tired. And at the same time, I think of you as somebody who is so bubbly and so like, "Ooh, let's play together. Let's have some fun." So high energy. It's an interesting juxtaposition, really.
Yes, and it's hard for me to manage because my default is very much the person who says, "Let's throw a party. If I'm writing a book, we should all do it. Let's grab a beverage, let's sit down, like, let's be part of this." And I've had to learn how to meter my energy such that I am taking good care of myself, which is a lot of what I learned how to process in the book and a lot of what I teach people of like, taking care of yourself doesn't have to mean that you're not outgoing and doing lots of things and having good times and leading the parties. You can still do all those things and still take good care of yourself. What I've had to really learn how to reckon with is the yes and, right? The two ideas.
Mhm.
Yes, I love to host and hold all the things and have all the people, and my body can't do what it used to do.
I would almost question whether your body really could do it to begin with. And I don't mean that to second guess how you lived your life, but just there's so many of us we learn to just drive ourselves to the ground.
Well, so Amy, that's the crux of the book, right? So as I'm digging through all of this, as I was spiraling down to Upspiral, I'm digging through the layers of what is driving me. What is driving me? Why on earth would I push myself at an unsustainable, unattainable level year over year of why? And it was fascinating to really start to look at my internal drivers and where I got the ideas that I had and
Mhm.
how the inherited trauma from both of my parents and grandparents on both sides really played into this idea that I inherently wasn't enough. So
Yeah.
I had to do everything and constantly prove at all times that I was more than enough. This seed of shame really fueled superhuman behavior on my part for 40 years until the bottom fell out and my body said, "Hey, excuse me, people. I think we need to look at this."
I mean, just to put a fine point on it, you were the person they called in when things weren't working and they needed fixing. You were that person. Superhuman, like, it's not working. Cara will come in. She'll right the ship. She's Mary Poppins. She's corporate Mary Poppins, and she's going to right the ship. And she is inexhaustible.
Yeah,
Like she can do anything.
yeah.
That was your persona. People bought it. People took that at face value. They put their trust in you. And so for you to say that you felt like you were not enough,
And what is fascinating is that, again, we're holding two opposite thoughts, is that I would be knocked out for sometimes a week at a time where I could not show up to work. I could not get out of bed. And everyone, my bosses, the people who worked for me, my customers, they all just knew that that was
even before your total meltdown.
even before I was officially quote unquote sick. Everyone just knew that there would be 1 or 2 weeks every couple quarters where I was basically dead. We called it my mono because that's what it seemed like. And every time I would get into the doctor, I would test positive for mono again. And everyone just thought that was normal.
Wow.
Like, oh, yeah, she's totally inexhaustible until she's dead, but she'll be back as soon as she's done being dead. It won't take very long at all. She'll be right there. And that was just the flow of how my life worked.
So going to the other extreme then, where you were homebound, out of work. I haven't read the latest version, but I've read stories about you crawling on the floor
Yep.
and can't even, I mean, I don't love packing suitcases. I think it's very hard, but can't pack a suitcase to go anywhere. Can't.
Yeah. Completely. So I'd gone from, at my peak, I was traveling 75% of the time. My
Mm.
husband was traveling 25% of the time, and we had 2 kids at home. So you were either on the road or single parenting. And it was nothing for me to, throw crap into a suitcase. I had been traveling for just about 15 years straight at that point. But there's a story early on in the book where we're going to go on vacation. My husband is already out of town because that's how we lived. And my job was to pack 2 small suitcases. And it took me almost a week. It was a physically impossible task. My hands would go numb, my legs would go numb, I would fall over. I was army crawling on the floor. This is within probably a week or 2 of when I had the big parties. The party, 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 party. And then all of a sudden it's like I can't do the most basic of tasks.
Yeah. So that's a wake up call. What happens then?
A whole lot of all the feels is what happens then, because it opens up the big black hole of who am I? What am I worth if I'm not this persona
Mm-hmm.
who I had identified with so wholly? There's a chapter where, I'm really wrestling with whether or not it makes sense to stay alive. I'm
Mm.
costing my family money. I'm no longer a producer. I'm no longer the head earner of the house. I am nothing but, a suck on our finances, on our time, on my husband's everything, right? Because he's working full time and he's raising the kids. And at one point, we have to hire a woman to be me and go to Target and make dinner because I literally just become this taker.
And how messed up is it that we think about people in terms of makers and takers?
Well, yes, it takes me a few hundred pages to work through that, actually. That perhaps maybe I was more than a maker or taker. I
Uh-huh.
had inherent value, but yes, it's totally messed up. And that was absolutely 100% where I was coming from. That if I wasn't giving, if I wasn't contributing, then I didn't have any value. In fact, I had negative value.
I mean, this is a societal thing. It's built in, it's a feature, not a bug. We are trained that way from the time we're very little to make ourselves valuable. If we're not going to bring a dowry, then we better bring in a paycheck. If we're, like, how are we contributing? And I'm not saying that we're supposed to just spend our life doing nothing, contributing in no way, but I think one of the most surprising things when not to make this about me because I want to talk about your book some more, but when I quit my job, it was shocking to me how many people just wanted to sit and be in my presence. And I'd be like, well, I'm going to get back to it. And they thought, no, no, just slow down, slow down. And how many people just wanted to be there and just be present. And wait, what? That has value too? That's shocking. But the further out I get, I'm like, well, that's what people want more than anything else. Because we're so hungry for that.
And that's the least thing that we give because we're so busy and we are so disembodied and we are so detached that we are creating this vacuum of humanity, basically.
Mm. Yeah.
And when we stop and sideline and catch our breath, people are magnetized to us because they go, oh, that looks like it feels so good.
Can I just put this down for a second?
Yes. Yes. You just told this thing for me while you're sitting there? Can you just hang out with me for a minute? Can you just hold my hand for a minute while you're sitting there?
Mhm.
It provides such
Mhm.
a respite, just this idea of, oh, wow, I didn't know you could do that.
Now, it's been a long time since I've seen what's going on inside this book. Are you still talking about Peru?
Oh, yeah, Prue is a central character in the book.
Great. So tell us a little bit about Peru.
Well, I don't even know where to start. I've always been attracted to Peru. When I was a little girl, you'll remember these, Amy. They had
Mhm.
those commercials on TV where you could, for $1 a day, you could adopt a little kid in
Oh,
the Andes. And I would cry. As like a little kid, I was like, oh my God, I'm adopting all of them.
all the Andean
Yes,
children.
like these, for some reason, like these babies that would like rip my heart out. I have always had this deep attachment. And once I was healthy enough to be dangerous, but not at all healthy, I got the idea in my head that I really wanted to go to some kind of like yoga teacher training, but the kind where I didn't have to like do a whole bunch of yoga and could just, which I got to tell you, the teachers loved. I was like, dude, I'm not doing this shit.
You were their favorite.
I'm like, I'll teach it. I've been doing yoga for years. I'm not doing that shit. Um, and I'm scrolling, Google is my divine oracle. All right, I say my little prayer ahead of time, like just show me where I need to go, tell me what I need to do. And I started to scroll and I found this retreat in Peru. And when I found it, I sobbed like somebody died.
Ooh.
I mean, guttural sobs, could not control it, in a ball on the floor, a hot mess. So of course I go, well, clearly that's the right answer.
Right.
Right. If I'm crying so hard, I'm like throwing up. Clearly, this is where I need to be.
This will be a fun time for sure.
This is great. Sign me up 100%. I can't wait. And this is one of many things that I had to pitch to my husband, who has been just such a gift. I would not be alive without him. And I mean that in no jest whatsoever. That is 100% true statement. It was one of the many totally off the walls things that I have pitched to him over the years. And he was very
Mhm.
supportive. And then a lot of magic happened, and it ended up being almost free, which doesn't quite happen. And I get there, and for the first time ever, I feel safe
Ooh.
and at home. And like in a way that I just gave myself chills.
Mm.
I had thought I had felt safe before, right? I still have the section in the book about grandma's bed and that being my safe place.
Mhm.
I thought I knew what safe felt like. And let me tell you, it does a number on your whole existence when you realize that you've never felt safe before.
Yeah.
And that really set me up for, I remember having a call with you shortly before I was leaving for Peru, and we had a water dam break in the house, and we were
Mm.
taking everything out,
Yeah.
having all the workers, and they were taking all the guts out of the walls and then replacing it and making it all look exactly as it had before.
Mhm.
And that is what happened to me in Peru. All of my guts had gotten replaced. And I started this thing. We went to one of the ancient ruins and we did this ceremony to clear inherited trauma. Whoo, girl. On my I got home from Peru and I may have looked the same. When I went to Peru, I was afraid I would come home and, I don't know, I would have like super crazy hair and be like the color blue and just be a different person. I should have. That would have been
Mm.
the appropriate warning for people, for me to have just like shaved my head off and dyed my skin blue, because I was that physically, emotionally, spiritually, and energetically different.
Wow.
And that really caused an unraveling that I would have never anticipated in a million years, of really starting to understand all of the things I had internalized, all of my
Yeah.
experiences through life. A critical thing that I had learned is this word shameflation.
Oh,
Yeah.
what's that?
Well, when you carry shame in your body, it causes physical inflammation,
Aha.
makes you infinitely more likely to get sick.
Say that again. It feels that important. So shameflation
Yes.
is.
Shameflation. And I want to say the guy's name is Dr. Wiley, but I can't remember off the top of my head. And he has done all these studies, and he has found that the emotion of shame held in the body causes physical inflammation, which predisposes the body to illness and burnout.
Wow.
Yes. Yes, you literally just in that I'm not enough kernel, you are physically setting yourself up for illness.
And if I may, it feels like we are in an epidemic of that
Deeply.
in this American society, at least Western society, but I'll speak to America because, hi, here we are.
Yeah.
And oh my gosh, there is so much shame coming to the surface
Yes.
right now.
Yes. And what we're doing is we are covering it and patching it with other things that cause inflammation. Let's eat poorly. Let's have a cocktail. Let's be super stressed out. Let's keep pushing ourselves and not get enough deep rest. So we're basically boils ready to pop.
You know, this doesn't sound like anything that somebody would willingly do. And yet I know you, Cara, and I know that you are grateful for having gone through it. So how do you square those two things?
Yes, no one would willingly do this. Don't do it. Don't sign up. If there's if there's paperwork to sign up for this, tell them no. Like bad choice. And I feel like this is part of why I feel so passionate about the book, because showing up and being able to share these stories and serve helps me justify my own suffering. I'm no longer suffering in a vacuum. I can say, listen, I can help someone else. They can learn from this story and skip this part, which means a lot to me because you don't want to sign up for this one if you can skip.
It was very costly on many levels.
Oh my God. Yeah, this is not for the faint of heart. And interestingly enough, when I look at my colleagues, because I've had the opportunity to go back to work, people have said, come on back, like, let's pick up where you left off. And first off, physically, I can't do it. But second off, I just go, like, that's not what I want to do. Like, this was really a gift. Like, I want to do this. I want to help educate people more. I want to help all of our high performing people avoid the potholes that I fell into.
So if there was something that we haven't mentioned yet that you just want people to know about your book, which the day that we release this episode is also the first day of pre-order, and join in and help name the book. So what do you want people to know?
That's a great question. I want them to know that, oh, geez, there's a lot jammed in to a short period of time. And in the book, there's 7 years condensed into the book. It's technical, it's scientific, it's spiritual. It's based on the Peruvian shamanic medicine wheel. So it's a different way to approach things. And it makes it a lot more fun. So you can read it and go, wow, I want to actually get something out of this. Or you could say, I just want an entertaining story about some weird chick and all the shit that happened to her. They're both valid ways to approach it. And I'm happy to share on either of those levels or anything in between.
I mean, that's the Cara I know. Deep, 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 really rich knowledge base, and also just a lot of fun.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to Courageous Wordsmith. Today's episode featured Cara Pacific Campbell. You can read more about her and check out her links in the show notes. That's where you'll find my links too. Backstage at Courageous Wordsmith, our production team is the brilliant Brooke Roy and me, Amy Hallberg. You can subscribe to this podcast right on this page. Sign up for my emails and share with friends who want to write. And how about you? You have stories to tell. What if you let yourself tell them? What would that look like for you? I am Amy Hallberg, and until we meet again, travel safely.